Salut tout le monde, bonjour, bonsoir, bon matin. I know that in Quebec they actually say bon matin. I don't know if you knew that. Here we are with another episode of the Rendez-Vous, a little special one because today we don't have any guests. It's just Tim and I, and we're not in person for the first time. I am
The,
in New Jersey, and Tim, oh look at this.
the only guest is Biscotte. That's Biscotte. Everybody meet her. She kind of wants to go right now.
Oh, she's so cute. She's so cute. She's so
What,
cute.
what are you doing in New Jersey, man?
I'm in New Jersey because I have some friends here, and I couldn't go home to France because of some visa problem. Technically, because you know that I've transferred to another school in Virginia, and I was in Wisconsin before. And the rule is if you're changing school, you need a new visa. And
Yeah.
because of that new visa situation, I wouldn't be able to go back to the US if I was going to France. So I decided to be safe, stay here. And the reason why in New Jersey is because I was supposed to literally fly from JFK in New York City. And at the last minute, my advisor called me and was like, don't leave the country. Being at, and I ended up being at my friends here in New Jersey, an hour away from New York City.
Dude, I get it. Visa issues suck. Like, I've been here for 6 years. I've been here for 6 years, and I've had four visa status. Like
Which ones?
four, like immigration status. I came here. Like when I was 17. So by that point, I was considered a dependent. So I had a visa with my dad. My dad is a photographer, so he got a visa because he was like a world-renowned photographer, and it's called the O1 visa, which is like special talents that you can get actually, I think, with your social media and stuff if you're trying.
We're working on it.
So I had a visa called the O3, which is dependent of artist. When I turned 21, that expired, so I had to go back to France. Had a tourist visa over the summer when I came back because the school that I went to hasn't started yet, so I couldn't get my student visa. After the summer, I got a student visa, and then after 2 years, after having my student visa and after 5 years in the US, we finally got our green card. So like four visa status in 6 years. I'm like, oh.
To finally get the green card.
fin-
So congrats on
Can't complain because now we have the green card, finally.
a nice background. Are you at your house?
Yeah, but my parents' place right now.
Nice.
It's a better background than my place. So I was like, might as well be nice for beautiful viewers.
So today, as I said, we are going to be
Do a
talking
little
to you
Q&A.
directly because we're doing a Q&A episode. So earlier this week, you've asked us questions on Instagram, and we'll be answering, I would say, around 9, 10 of them related to the French culture, the French language, the lifestyle, but also some more personal questions about our lives. So let's get started with the first one asked by Craig Ori DC. I would say that this person is living in Washington, D.C. Did you all know each other in France?
No, we didn't. The story of how we met is actually funny. I slid in your DMs. I
Yeah.
was yeah, like I had just broken up with my girlfriend. And I was like, this man's looking pretty cute. I'm like,
Oh, Lord. All right, let's talk more seriously.
no, that's not what happened. So the story of how it actually went is I just wanted to meet more French people because you connect on a different level when you speak the same language and same culture. Like we both grew up for like 16, 17 years in France, so we have the French culture that's like deeply inside us. And yeah, just DM'd you. I wanted to work together because like obviously you make content, I make content, and it was like, how about we just shoot something together? And first time we met was I was shooting photos for you when you were at the Wish House. I'll post some photos. So
Exactly.
it's cool.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll put some photos of us our
Yeah,
first
you were riding
photo
a
shoot.
unicorn. I was like, okay.
Yeah. No, but yeah, no. Tim sent me a message on Instagram, and I just saw that he was so genuine about meeting me, and I was kind of scared my first time in LA of meeting the wrong people and just being too much about partying and doing crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
I met Tim, and actually that brought me to meet so many other people that I'm like friends with right now. So no, Tim, again, thank you so much, and we've been doing such amazing things between the podcast and all the travels we've been doing together. So I'm really thankful for that. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man, it's teamwork, you know. It wouldn't have worked if you hadn't replied to me because you had like 300K followers. I was like, there's no way he's gonna
Yeah.
reply to me, and then he did. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, don't get me started. I'm gonna start crying. All right, so Tim and I obviously have been to schools in the U.S. but also in France, and someone who decided to stay anonymous asked a very interesting question: how do American and French schools differ?
They're very different. I'm gonna start with high school, talking about high school system, and it's wild, man. I used to wake up at like 6 a.m. every single morning. It was like the school was like an hour away, and then we had classes every single day of the week, but Sunday, like Saturday morning, I had to go to school. Like I had school on Saturday mornings. Did you have that too, or?
I did have that, but only when I went to private high school. I only had 1 year of private high school.
Yeah, I did private high school, and like we had 4-hour exams every single week. Every
Yeah.
single week we had a 4-hour exam.
Yeah, to prepare you to the baccalaureate, an exam
Yeah.
that we talked about earlier in the season one. But now that we're in college, and we do have friends in college in France, we know that they, of course, having a different way of teaching and like grading. What is your experience going to college in the U.S.? What is like one thing that you think is so different from France?
Multiple choice.
Yeah, why?
That's not how life works. You know what I mean? Like multiple choice is they ask you a question and they give you options. And I feel like in real life it's all open-ended. And like in France, everything is open-ended. Like it's one question and then they're like, write an essay about it.
Yeah,
So I feel
it's
like it
way
prepares you better.
it's way more about like reflection. Like the
Exactly.
reflection.
It's more
on
analytical.
exactly, on the test part in France. I think what like surprised me the most between French and American schools, it's not even the grading system or the tests. It's way more like the people. So you
Yeah.
know how like in American college they can show up with Crocs, sweatpants, hoodie, hat, all that stuff. Like, do you imagine yourself going into a business class and wearing Crocs with no socks or even with socks in front of your business teacher?
No, you know, in my high school, I was not allowed to wear shorts. I was not allowed, and that was because it was private high school. And I think throughout France, you're not allowed to like wear hats. It's not like you're not allowed, but like it's not respectful. Like like we respect our teachers. Oh, like there's a very different dynamic with our teachers. Like we respect them. Like every time, at least in my high school, every time the teacher would walk in the class, we'd stand up as a sign of respect.
Yeah. But again,
Like
I'm not saying they don't respect the professors.
no,
Whatever.
it's
Yeah.
different dynamic.
But it's just like because people are living in dorms, in apartments, walking distance from classes, what they usually do is that they get off bed and they go straight to classes, kind of looking like homeless. And it's fine, like it's very comfortable. I've done it in the past. But when I told my parents that, they were like, oh, you got to be careful because when you're graduating from college, there's none of that. There's no like
Yeah.
like showing up in like a business meeting when there's millions of dollars in between that you're gonna show up like this. Absolutely not. What
Yeah.
else you think is a big difference?
Now we have a lot more. How do you say that? Retaper. Quand tu retapes une
Retaper?
classe.
Oh, so like retaking the year, not
Yeah,
passing. So you have to retake the year.
You don't pass classes, you pass years. So like if you fail your year, you have to restart a whole year. And like I have a lot of friends that like they didn't study enough and like they had to retake a year. And it's like, wow, that's crazy.
Let's go on to our next question.
Yeah.
Very actually related to the news and the
The current
actuality
events, yeah.
right now here in the United States. It's still anonymous. Do France have guns? And what are your thoughts on gun policy in the United States? So first, Tim,
Man, this is
we do not have
outrageous.
guns in France.
Definitely not as much. Not nearly as much. And like it's a difference in culture as well. Like here, obviously, there's the First Amendment, and you're allowed to. Wait, not the First Amendment, Second Amendment. Sorry.
The second, buddy, come on.
Yeah, so there's a Second Amendment, obviously. But yeah, no, dude, it's outrageous. I mean, obviously, like we've all seen the current events. there was saying that's something that's been going around on Instagram right now, saying that today, as we're recording, is the 144th day of 2022, and there has been 212 mass shootings in the U.S., meaning that there's been more than one mass shooting per day on average. Like that's just insane.
It's insane how and again I understand the difference in culture and difference in background and the size of the country. Like, I know how France is way smaller than America, but it's been proven that in a country where guns are not allowed, that obviously you don't have as much mass shooting as you do when it's legal. And also
it's so easy to get a gun here. Like you can just at 18 you can like walk in. There's no background checks. Like,
but I think that you can like change things by, for example, having like background check on people, because like mental health is a pretty big deal. You can work on those things to make sure that, okay, you can buy a gun, but we need to check on you first. Like, why not having like licenses for gun to make sure that people are having gun for a special reason?
Well, there's that. Like, I think the issue is so deep that it's hard to pinpoint and just put one thing. Because, like, I mean, for background checks, that's going to happen. Like, they're going to background check you when you buy the gun. But let's say you buy a gun now and, you become mentally ill or whatever, you get into a state of depression 5 years from now. Like, they're not going to know that. So I think we need more, like, security, like, it's schools especially, like, have like an armed security guy, like, have someone, like, every single time that thing happens, there's no one to counter them.
Imagine putting security guards in every single schools, even including college. You know how much money this would have to spend by the government. It's a lot. So
it is, but at some point you gotta save our children.
Exactly, you do. And I think that if you're ready to give up the money you're getting from, the guns, because obviously it's a huge business here. People
tax guns more and like have like there's taxes on gas, have a tax on guns, and like that tax is used to pay security guards because like shit happens.
So I just think it's stuff that are hard to be changed, but I think that if everybody's voicing their
something
opinion
has to be done.
And something definitely has to be done. Again, and I talked about this on Instagram. I never felt I've never felt scared of getting killed by someone because guns are not allowed in France. But when I'm here, I always be careful when I'm talking to someone if I say something wrong, or if I'm looking at someone in the eyes, because I know that if here this person is mentally ill, I can get killed. And when I'm in France,
it's not even mentally ill. It's like if the person, we all have our lives, and I got threatened outside my house, where like I think I talked about it too on a previous episode, but I was changing in my room, and there's a guy that walks up to our front door. I'd never seen the guy before, and stops dropping a bunch of stuff on the sidewalk. And it happens once, I don't say anything, and it happens a second time, the window is open, and I say, "Guy, like, don't do that. Like, the sidewalk is not a trash," but like respectfully, I was like, "Hey man, like just please like pick it up, like it's the sidewalk's not a trash." And like we start arguing for a little bit, and then after a minute, he goes like, "Shut up before I shoot you," and I was like, "Okay." And then 3 weeks after, I hear gunshots outside my house. Like I literally like in my house next to USC, I hear gunshots, and it's like, long story short, to answer the question of, so France doesn't have guns, and what do we think of gun policy in the US? It's definitely too lenient, and I think something needs to be done, because like, it's bad.
And we care. It's more because we care more than we're judging. We're not here to judge. We're not politicians. We just like tell our opinion.
I'm not saying we're not saying guns are bad. We're just saying they need to be regulated.
Exactly, and I hope that things will change, and we really hope so, because we want people to be free and to be safe.
That question is something that is ingrained in a French stereotype, and it's really pissing me off. Someone asked, why are French known for surrendering?
This whole stereotype of surrendering, it's funny because it came back to the World War II, okay? Because Paris was an open city back in the time, and France decided to let it happen, not like we had the choice to do anything, and we didn't want to sacrifice ourselves to save our country, so we decided to surrender. So Americans came to help us, and
Yeah.
obviously, like, we all know the end of the story, that without Americans we would be German today. But what I think makes no sense in like people thinking that we surrender is that without France, America would be British. Like the
Yeah.
United States would be British. So we helped American as well.
Yeah, a lot of people forget about the U.S. history, and we talked about it with the ambassador a little bit, but the Marquis de Lafayette, which is a French guy that came to the U.S. and led American armies actually through, or not American armies, but like during the Civil War, he helped free America basically.
Yeah. This was
So,
in
like-
this was in the 18th century.
Yeah,
mesdames et
yeah,
messieurs.
18th century. But yeah, no, it comes back to World War II, and obviously, like, so little history lesson. We had our general. It was a general before. It wasn't a president. And the general actually started working with Hitler. So, there's one guy that's at the top that doesn't have the same goals, I guess.
France is not just that white flag that everybody's always talking about. We can defend our country, and that reminds me of the governor of Florida, who made literally a stupid statement about like, oh, if France was Ukraine today, we would already be dead because we couldn't stand for ourselves.
Yeah.
He said something silly like
Tragic.
this, and I was like, bro, have you ever been to France? Like, I don't even think you did.
I mean, look
Like,
at all the yellow vests and stuff. Like people actually like they fight for what they want.
oh yeah, I'm like, go fight with those yellow jackets on Sunday. You'll see if you can get out of here. I don't even
Yeah.
think so. Anyway, our next question. Explain to us French numbers because they make no sense.
That's so true.
I'll let you start for 1 to 10, Tim. It's not too hard, 1 to 10.
Do you want me to count 1 to 10?
Count
You
1
te-
to 10 for the
You're
audience.
testing my French ability. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's like 1 to 10. So that's really easy. That's
So far,
normal.
it's not hard. It's normal. It's like any languages. But then, when you pass 80, that's when you have to better be good at math, because if you're not, you're done.
So we don't say 80, we do 4 times 20. That's like the little translation of 80, which means 80, is 4 times 20. And then 90 is 4 times 20 plus 10. So 90. It's like-
90.
Yeah, and then so like if you want to say like 92, it's 4 times 20, 10 2.
Plu- exactly, 10
That's
to
what
or
we
plus
say.
12. And it's
But
funny
plus 12,
because-
sorry, plus 12.
Yeah, no, but you're right. Plus
I can't
12
even I
or-
can't even count.
See, even ourselves, we don't
92.
learn. Yeah, we don't learn it as like as like a math. We just learn it as like words. So it's funny because
Yeah.
I've never realized this until I came to the US.
Yeah,
Okay.
me neither.
So don't worry. It's even if you're not good at math, I'm not good at math myself either. I still made it, so you'll be fine.
The next question is really cool. I think it was asked by C Sunny 3. If you could live anywhere, where would that be?
I'm gonna pick one city in the United States and one city in France. Okay, so I love literally everywhere. I've always had a good experience anywhere in the United States. But if I had to choose one city to live, I would choose Charleston, South Carolina, just
Wow.
because I went there in 2020 and I had such an amazing experience with the people. It's very European in the architecture, but also you have the beach. And I love surfing, and I just think that the weather is also very good. You just have to be careful with hurricane season. But other than this, South Carolina, is my to-go-to. And if I had to choose one city in France, I'm not gonna say Paris because that would be lame from me, especially since I grew up there. I would say very similar, but I would say Osogor. For the people,
Osgar?
usually they call it Osgar.
Yeah.
It's like the Los Angeles of France. It's like the French LA.
Yeah.
Very
Well, like,
southwest vibe.
yeah, but it's very small though.
It's very small, but it's the more
Like,
look-alike.
yeah, it's surfer vibe.
It's surfer
For sure.
vibes, and you know how much I love that vibe, like the little Outer Banks vibe. What about you?
Yeah. There isn't one place that fits me. I'm the kind of guy that needs to travel. I think my goal is to have mon pied à terre, so like have a house here in LA, and spend like maybe like 8 months in LA, I would say, um, and then it would be like I would love to have a place in Paris as well, because like socially, to me, socially, France is like where I belong. Like I love how people are happy and how they party and stuff, and then I want to travel. So like there isn't one place that I can't live in LA my whole life. I like, for example, I need to leave LA every month, at least for one weekend, because like it just kind of gets on my nerves.
Okay, okay. Well, I respect that. I love traveling,
You know
but
what I mean?
I would still love still having my place and being able to go home, see my kids, see my
No,
wife.
for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure.
But
But I want to live
interesting
everywhere. I want to travel. I want to travel.
interesting point of view. And it's I love the next question because that's actually it's actually this type of question that I want to be answering, especially when we do podcast episodes. What do you think the benefits of learning a second language are, Tim? What do you think?
There's so many. There's so many. I think it's beautiful to. It opens your mind a lot. It allows you to understand the culture that you live in a lot more. Um, it just helps you like I think memory wise too. Like it because it trains your brain. Your brain is like a muscle. If you don't train it, it's going to shrink. If you train it, it's going to grow and get stronger. So learning a new language is training it in one way.
Yeah, well, if I get started on that question, I'll spend the whole day. But for me,
Yeah.
it enhances your ability to multitask because I'm able to like speak English and parler français like this and just change quand je veux. You see, and I feel that when you're able to talk to a French person in French and also at the same time just be like switching to English, your brain is just used to multitasking like this. It's just my point of view. I don't know about you, but I know that now I know that I've learning a second language will like literally help me do multiple things at the same time. Also, it increased cultural awareness. The
Yeah.
fact that I speak a language, I've realized so many things about my culture and my language that are way different, and that I prefer or not. And it also helped me have kind of like a step, it's kind of like just to reflect on what is wrong, what is right about my culture, what should have done
Yeah.
be different. And for example, just like we were talking about guns earlier, it's part of the American culture.
Yeah.
And us French people coming here, we don't have guns back home, expecting them to just change like this. Some people don't want that, and I'm not saying I get it, but it's again, speaking a different language help you understand more about what is surrounding you and the reason why this is going on.
It goes like this. Learning a new language allows you to travel and open your mind up. And then with that, you're able to reflect on your own culture and on the cultures that are around you. And you can pick what you like about each culture. That's kind of why, back to the previous question, there is no one place for me. Because I love some things about the American culture and about Los Angeles, but I hate other things. And same for Paris, same for France. I love some things about it, but I hate other things. And learning that second language allows you to like build your life as you want it, like make the best out of it. I think that's what it is. And right
Exactly.
now I'm learning Spanish because like
There you go.
there's so many opportunities with Spanish as well.
It's a Latin language. You should be fine. I'll be cheering
Sí,
for you.
sí, claro.
There you go.
Sí, tengo mi teléfono en español, pero es muy difícil de aprender.
Muy bien, hermano, muy bien. So no, yeah, what I was saying is more like, you know, you learn more about a culture when you speak a second language because you can have the locals' point of view. So you're
Yeah,
talking to locals, so
exactly.
you're learning from their culture. And then my last thing is for the people that are watching and listening and learning French at the same time, it also gives you a vast world of
Yeah.
job opportunities. So I know myself, like since I speak English, I can apply for job in the United States, I can apply for job in England, in Australia, and you will be able to do the same if you learn French. You'll be able to get jobs in Quebec, Canada, France, Belgium, and every French speaking countries. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here, but there's
That
way
question
more.
is very deep, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but again, it's just I think our top three. But thank you. That was a very, very good question, Tim. I'll let you go for the next one.
The next question is asked by Georgiana Taylor. I hope I didn't butcher
Georgiana,
that.
it's a pretty
What are the
name.
most, yeah, I love it. What are the most common mistakes you hear in French, Alex?
Well, I've been teaching French, as you guys know, for about 2 years and a half. And I think the hardest part is for people to pronounce the ENT at the end of a verb when it's at the third person plural. So
Yeah.
il and elle. So ILS and the feminine one. Because it's so weird that, for example, if I say they eat at the feminine, I'm going to say elle mange, even though it ends with ENT. So why would I have ENT if I can say elle mangeant? And this is just a sign of plural, but a verb form, you know? So
Yeah.
every time people are learning French, they are saying the ENT. So they would say elle mange, elle mangeant, ils vendant, etc., etc. So if you're learning, really be careful to that. I think like the last thing that I want to say and the mistake that I've always hear is people thinking that because French is a Latin language that is very similar to Spanish, so the word bien, so the word good or great, people usually say bien. Okay, don't say bien, just say bien. And the last one that I want to say is when you're using beaucoup de. Okay, the word de. Okay, everybody says de. Like they're inventing like an accent on the top of the e. When you see de, it's de, like the number two. So make sure that you're saying de and not de. So thank you, Georgiana, for that good question.
The next question is funny, actually. Um, Flavia Biglia asked us, I know there's a way to order free water in a restaurant in France. I just never remember. Because, like, if you go to a restaurant in French, if you just say, hey, can I get some water? They're going to give you, like mineral, like what we call mineral water. Like, they charge you for it. They charge you for it. So, Alex, best French teacher in the whole planet Earth, how do you say, how do you order water for free at a restaurant?
I think there's two ways. There's one way is une carafe. Okay, so une carafe is basically, well, we're gonna put a picture of a carafe, what it looks like, but it's like a jar of water. I don't know how you would say that.
Yeah.
And it's usually tap water. Tap
Yeah, it's just
water.
tap water.
And in French, tap water is eau plate. Okay, so eau plate, and it basically means water flat. So
Flat water, yeah.
flat water. I don't think they say flat water here in the
Yeah,
US.
they do. Do you want sparkling or flat?
Oh, okay, well, I'm learning every day. See, learning every day. Well, so here we're switching totally the topic about a question that it's a pretty big stereotype on French people and France. Is French racist or against hijab? So, so here it's a really complicated question. So first, I do not think that France is a racist country or against hijab. France is a laïc country described as the laïcité. And the laïcité, if I can summarize it, is basically you cannot show any sign of religion in public establishment. So like school, for example. So it's not only pointing at one religion. It's not saying like, oh, you Muslim or you Christian cannot show and share your religion at school. The goal here is the government want to protect every single kids to grow and decide what they want in the future without having to be influenced by other religion.
I think you pointed out the right way. I don't think It's a stereotype that's a problem. But I don't think French is a racist country. But la laïcité is really important in our culture, and to kind of explain it a little more, it's the same thing as a separation of church and state here in the U.S., but just pushed forward. It's just pushed further. That means that you're not allowed to let religion affect decisions that are taken by the government. So you know how like they don't really have it here in the U.S. Like you know how in the U.S. They always have on the bills it says like "In God We Trust." Like this is not allowed in France. Like there's a very, very distinct separation of church and state.
I wouldn't say it's not safe for black people or Muslim people to come to France.
No, definitely not.
Because I think that it's funny because France is also one of the most diverse country in the world, you know? So for people to be worried about racism, it's something that's going on everywhere you go. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not just a French thing. Yes, we have a background of the colonization and the colony and everything, and that's something that obviously nobody should be proud of. Okay, but nowadays people has evolved. Obviously, there's politics, and the last election shows that things are not going the best way we want them to go. But again, here, at the end of the day, things are going great because she did not make it. I'm not gonna mention her name, but if you're traveling by yourself and you're black or you're Muslim, you're safe. Nothing bad is going to happen to you just because of that reason.
No, it's definitely not.
Last question. Okay, so now let's say that you are doing a layover in Paris and it's asked by El Ferrighetti. So I don't know if it's Ferrighetti. I think it's Italian.
It sounds Italian, very much.
Exactly. What are the must-dos in a 24 hours layover in Paris? Tim, I'll let you go for that. What do you think is the must-do in 24 hours?
Well, obviously visit the Eiffel Tower. Like Paris, excuse me, is such a culturally rich city. I think it'd be amazing if you could like visit the Louvre, like the Musée du Louvre, and like go see like Mona Lisa and stuff.
The Mona Lisa and the big debate. It's funny because that question has been probably asked by an Italian person, and the Mona Lisa obviously should be in an Italian museum, but now is in France because De Vinci came back and finished the Mona Lisa in France and stayed in France, and that is the reason why it's still in France. Italian people, I know why you're mad. It's one of the most beautiful painting in your history, and it's in France and Paris. So,
have you seen it in person, the Mona Lisa?
I have once when I was younger. Yeah.
Did you? So there's this. The way it was painted is crazy because it actually feels like she's looking at you. Like it's crazy.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point of the Mona Lisa, yeah. And like it's so hard to describe. Like if you're in the room and you walk from right to left, it always feels like she's looking at you, and it's really, really creepy. But it's crazy, and like for that you have to go and visit it yourself.
So we said the Louvre, we said the Eiffel Tower. I think that walking down the Champs-Élysées, is you have to for two reasons. Just because it's by the Arc de Triomphe. And also because if you like shopping, this is the best place I think in France to go shopping.
Yeah, it's Champs-Élysées is beautiful. Depending on what time of year you go, like there's like if you go like in the winter, like there's the Marché de Noël that's there, and like you absolutely have to go see that. It's like beautiful. It's on the Champs-Élysées. Yeah, it's on the Champs-Élysées, and like there's a bunch of shops and stuff. It's beautiful.
So for translation, it's the Christmas market at the Champs-Élysées in the winter time.
Yeah, don't forget to eat too when you go to Paris. Like you have to try all the pastries and stuff. Like go to like an actual boulangerie and like eat good pastries. That's gonna change your life. I guarantee you.
Go get some chouquette. Go get some cannelé.
Cannelé. Oh my god.
nails are very good. Oh my god, it's
So good.
Swiss shit. It's just very good. Well, that's been nine question that we answered in this first Q&A episode. We'll be back at the studio, or even we'll be back together with Tim next week. So don't worry about it. We've tried our best to put something together. We know it's not the best, but still, like, we've enjoyed this episode. Tim, do you have one last word, one last thing for today?
No, I think everything was good. If you enjoyed, please let us know. If there is any other questions that you want us to ask, please feel free to leave them in the comment down below. And we'll see you soon.
We'll talk to you guys soon. Yeah, take care, à bientôt, and au revoir. Ciao, ciao.
Allez, bisous.